Hey everybody, this is CR Hannah, aka Gia from Power Rangers Megaforce and Super Megaforce, and you are listening to The Grid! Go go Megaforce! And you know what time it is? It's Morphin time!
Welcome, humans. I am Gosei. My mentor, Zordon, placed me here to be guardian of this planet.
Austin, does Gosei ever mention Zordon again?
No, my sweet Glitchy. There's no continuity in the Megaforce archives.
But it's an anniversary event.
Yes, it is Glitchy, but I think there's a robo-rap later you might like.
Chica, give me a beat.
Playing a beat for Glitch.
My name is Glitchy, I got something to say. I like chicken nuggets and I eat them all day. I got 3 friends, Austin, Amby, and Boss. I don't have teeth, no need to floss.
Ugh, where is it?
You looking for something?
Yeah, I'm looking for our transportal device. I'm doing inventory and I swear I left it in the lab.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. Amber used it to go to Aquitar. She requested to train with the Equation Rangers.
Random, but okay.
It's not random, Ray. She was raised on Aquitar, duh.
Oh, right. Well, that solves that conundrum. Anyway, what are you two watching? Something good, I hope.
I'm showing Glitchy Megaforce.
Megaforce?
The Yellow Ranger is my favorite because her Zord is a big kitty. Meow.
Couldn't you show Glitchy something better from the archives, like In Space or RPM?
You really want me to show Glitchy archives from a dimension where the entire world is destroyed by a computer virus?
What? That sounds so scary.
See? Plus, I thought it would be nice to revisit a moment in Ranger history that we haven't touched in a while. Remember when we did that with Samurai? We ended up going to appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, true, but if you wanted a lighthearted story, you could have picked something like, I don't know, Ninja Storm?
Oh, come on, Ray. Just join us. How bad could it be?
Please, Boss.
Oh, alright. I guess we could benefit from this by recording our thoughts after. But before we start, does anyone want a snack?
Chicky.
Yes, I know, Glitchy. Chicken nuggets. Austin, do you want something? Maybe chocolate chip cookies?
I guess. I've never had a chocolate chip cookie before.
What?
We don't have sugar in the future.
Well, that's depressing. Okay, snacks are done, fresh from the Synthetron. Let's get this over with. Sheikah, begin Ranger History Archive 2013, codename Megaforce.
Begin playing Megaforce in 3, 2, 1.
Morphin Legacy presents The Grid.
Howdy, Ranger Nation. This is Shadow822, Vice President of MorphinLegacy.com, welcoming you to another Grid Retrospective, where we'll be reviewing Power Rangers Megaforce and Power Rangers Super Megaforce. Joining me in this retrospective is Austin.
Hey.
So how this will work is that the two of us will roundtable discuss the characters, our favorite and least favorite aspects of the season, and then wrap up the discussion by giving our overall thoughts and comparing it to other seasons. So with that, you ready, Austin?
Ready.
Ranger of Knowledge, Grid Ranger Metallic, Silver!
Ranger of Queerness, Grid Ranger Metallics, Rosé!
Grid Ranger Slay, ready to save the day! Okay, so let's begin our discussion of Megaforce talking about, quote-unquote, the story. Bug aliens invade a random town in California, so it's up to Zordon student, a tiki head on the wall, to recruit 5 random teenagers to become angel-themed Power Rangers with trading cards, who later become pirate-themed Power Rangers with keys, but never acknowledge they're pirates. Also, there's a legendary battle at the end. Alright, let's talk about the characters, quote-unquote. First up is Troy Burrows, the Red Megaforce Ranger and the Red Super Megaforce Ranger.
Fury of the Dragon! Yeah! Super Megaforce, red!
Cancelled.
Let's look it up. Troy, who is new in town, is chosen to become the Red Megaforce Ranger after going through adversity with great skill. Adversity we never see or mention, by the way, because God forbid these characters have any depth to them. So yeah, Troy is just a weird character. He's one of the most wooden characters in the franchise. He also has a depager for water bottles, because we see him kick one in the first episode, and then we see a training montage where he ties a bunch of them to trees and tries to avoid them blindfolded.
He's just against pollution. Okay, it's a metaphor. Water bottles, they're killing sea life. It's a metaphor. Save the turtles.
He also has these visions of the legendary battle from the literal beginning of the season. It's straight up the first scene we see. He gets them here and there till about the time Robonite shows up, and then we never see them again. They aren't mentioned at all either until the legendary battle.
I knew it. I've dreamt about this.
Well, the plot became too important to keep showing all that.
What plot?
The Bigfoot guy, the little toxic nasties, and the robots.
He also has this weird Super Saiyan ability in one episode. He just summons an aura of golden energy that he uses to punch Robonite out of his brainwashing.
It's called the power of the Morphin grid.
There was the rumor that apparently he was going to be birthed out of the Morphin grid, but they didn't do that because God forbid they explain anything in this season.
The Morphin grid works like the Force, Ray.
Pretty much. Let's not forget to never let go of a weapon.
I wanted to figure out a weapon we could use against that monster. Maybe there's a weapon he can't suck away because it's made out of a different alloy. So next time...
Stop it. I told you, a ranger never lets go of his weapon. Next time, we just won't let go. That's all there is to it.
I got a firm grip. I'm not letting go of anything, okay?
Let's talk about his focus episodes. Stranger Ranger. Troy trains with his water bottles and humbles a pony named Jordan. Harmony and Discord. Troy and Emma bond over nature and song. And dead mothers, maybe.
She ate that. Not Troy, but Emma did.
Yeah, I mean, he just stood to the side and just summoned a little windy card.
He was just furniture for her.
Troy's just furniture the whole fucking season, let's be real. Who's crying now? Troy tells a bunch of bullies at school and on the battlefield to look and see if he's crying.
Take a good look. You see any tears? And scene. Where's my daytime Emmy?
Man and Machine. Troy tries to teach Robonite how to be a team player. Earth fights back. Troy laments over a missing Robonite while at the same time walks into an Armada plan where they intend to fire missiles at every major city on Earth. And after that, Troy never mentions Robonite again after this episode until Wreck is back. So yeah, he really cared.
You know what? Good on Troy for forgetting about him because Robonite is so annoying, and we'll get to that.
Spirit of the Tiger. Troy drills into his teammates' heads that to never let go of a weapon.
That was from that episode?
Yeah, it's from the episode where Jake and Emma learn how to do Kung Fu from Casey. Because they try to actually solve their problem with the magnetism, and Troy's just like, just don't let go of the weapons. I don't care if he has magnetism powers, just don't let go.
That makes sense to me, yeah.
That makes sense. And lastly, Vrack is back. Troy screams at Robonite and punches him in the robo-stomach.
I wish I was Troy in that moment because that's all I wanted to do to Robonite the whole time.
Just punch him, yeah.
It's not personal. Actually, it is.
Moving on to Noah, Carver, the Blue Megaforce Ranger and Blue Super Megaforce Ranger.
Bite of the shark! Huh. Megaforce Blue! Super Megaforce Blue!
Noah, I love you!
Do you?
I like Noah.
Noah Carver is a nerdy nerd that is chosen to be the Blue Megaforce Ranger for his thirst for knowledge. Interesting thing about Noah is that we see him on the red screen. You know how Ghost's trying to look for kids and those screens that they never use after the first episode looks for the teen. Noah's face is on the red one before they chose Troy, so he was almost red.
We know damn well why he was not red.
Because we've never had a nerd be the red before?
No, because this is the 20th anniversary. We want nerd as blue because of Mighty Morphin.
That's really it to say about Noah. He's the smart one and he's Jake's best friend, and he has low self-esteem sometimes.
Don't have low self-esteem. I love you.
One interesting thing about Noah is that both his Sentai counterparts, especially Super, were the cool, stoic, and serious one. So you see him be the nerdy nerd out of Morph, and then he morphs, and all of a sudden he's a super stoic sword fighter.
You can kind of look at that as he gains confidence when he morphs.
True, because Billy was the same way, I guess, but usually in the later seasons, they were kind of better at matching the personality to the footage.
I think that's so interesting how hard fans can be on newer seasons matching Sentai footage, but no one says anything about the early seasons.
You have to kind of give them a pass because they didn't know where they were doing yet in Mighty Morphin. But yeah, let's talk about the focus episodes. Going viral, Noah lacks self-confidence because he can't lift Jake's heavy axe until he can.
That's hot.
Last laugh. Noah doesn't have a sense of humor, which is convenient because the monster of the week, Steel P. people who laugh, so it's up to him and even more humorless Rebonite to save their teammates. Blue Saber Saga. Noah has a grudge with a skilled sword fighter, so he learns to be a skilled sword fighter overnight, because the footage demands it, even though it's completely out of character for Noah. This is the episode I was talking about.
It just showed determination.
Are you defending this right now?
Someone has to.
They pretty much just translated the episode, even though Noah's not the type of character to be training and improving his sword fighting skills in the woods overnight. Well, Emma just looks at him like, oh, he's so badass. That's what happened. I think there's YouTube videos where you see both scenes from the Power Rangers and the Super Sentai, and it's exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
Alliance. Noah can sense the Red Lion Zord for absolutely no reason.
I liked that episode.
That was alright. That was one of the better tribute episodes, even though they didn't really bring anybody back except for the giant lion.
Samurai surprise!
Noah develops a rivalry with Argus and gets a double disc from Jaden to fight off another Armada commander. When the hell did Noah become the strong one?
My takeaway from this episode was the cameo from Kendall Schmidt from Big Time Rush, so.
The grass is always greener. Or bluer.
I love this episode.
You love it?
It's so quirky.
Noah switches bodies with Jake, so the footage of the Green Ranger making a cannon weapon makes more sense, even though they've been fine with making Noah a badass sword fighter the whole fucking season.
There's a lot of rage I'm sensing. I just love a good body swap, and this was a good body swap.
There have been better body swaps.
There have been worse body swaps. Dino Fury.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh my goodness. The episode was barely about a body swap. It was about Pop-Pop having a date and getting some ass. That's what it was. A Jake in glasses, period.
That was pretty hot. All hail Prince Fakar. Noah's rivalry with Argus ends when he defeats and destroys Argus in a one-on-one battle. By himself.
Which one was Argus?
Exactly. That just shows you how important this character was.
That's a genuine question, though.
He was the silver guy that said yes, boss, every 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later. They cut out a lot of stuff about that character in the Sentai, and they didn't add anything else. Any closing comments about Noah before we move on to Jake?
Noah's probably one of my favorites on the team, I would say.
He's the one with the least offenses, I guess.
He has the most pros for me.
Except for Orion, but we'll get to him later. Moving on to Jake Holling, the Black Megaforce Ranger and Green Super Megaforce Ranger.
Venom of the Snake! Megaforce Black! Super Megaforce Green!
Jake Holling is a soccer-obsessed creep that is chosen to become the Black Megaforce Ranger for his boundless athleticism and enthusiasm. Kind of feels like weird traits to call upon for a Power Ranger.
Athleticism helps you be a Ranger. Girl, if I was a Ranger, my fat ass, I'd be winded after one punch.
Do you think liking soccer will get focus when it comes to focus episodes? Not really. More of that is just seeing him hold a soccer ball once in a while, and one instance where he chucks soccer balls into garbage cans. I guess he also wears a sports hoodie for his all-time outfit, because these Rangers only get one outfit the whole fucking season.
Yeah, they do only wear one outfit, but at least they're fierce. If they were ugly and that was their outfit for the whole season, that'd be annoying.
I'm going to talk about this later, but if you're going to give them one outfit and it's a high school season, they should have just given them all school uniforms.
Yeah, I agree.
Should have been like a Scarlet and Violet situation where you can get a school uniform and get different flares.
It should have been like Dalton Academy Warblers situation up in here.
We never really had a season that took place at a private school or an academy. It's always public school. His focus episodes mostly come from two things: being Noah's best friend and having the hots for Gia, more so in liking Gia, which usually ends with some very creepy moments, like in the first episode where we get a slow motion scene of Jake looking at Gia's ass.
I mean, I'm not straight, but did you see those pants?
Come on, you're defending that.
I'm not defending him. I'm not a Jake Gia shipper, but he's a high school boy. They're gonna be acting like...
You're supposed to be role models to kids and you're doing shit like that, okay. And of course, we can't forget to mention all the times he hits on Gia and gets denied, but continues to do it, with one instance where Jake calls Gia difficult or stubborn for not rewarding him for constantly macking on her. Of course, he gets rewarded at the end, though, where Gia gives him a little peck. Jake also has the distinction of being the only Power Ranger to change colors when going from Mega to Super Mega, becoming green, with Jake asking why, and thus we are given there's a simple explanation for that.
Am I the only one who notices that my key is the wrong color?
Jake, there's a simple explanation for that.
Heard that a million times.
It gave us an iconic meme, and I think the fandom takes it a little too seriously. Okay, let's talk about the focus episodes. He blasted me with science. Jake hits on Gia while people are being abducted by a Warstar insectoid. Priorities.
The episode title sounds so dirty. He blasted me with science? Ew.
Spirit of the Tiger with Emma. Jake and Emma learn how to harness their animal spirits by Casey Rhodes. Power of 6 with Orion. Jake becomes jealous of Orion because he's better than him in every way, which causes his teammates to lose their life energy and ends up with Orion looking even better. Love is in the air. Jake gets harassed by a love potion Lavira, which you'd think would make Jake change his ways with Gia, but doesn't.
That's what you took away from that episode?
Yes.
Lavira was just a stan.
She was under the influence of a love potion, Austin.
Oh, she was?
That's why I said love potioned Lavira.
I thought she was just a Green Ranger stan. That would have been funny.
Yeah, that would have been funnier. I mean, that's what the Sentai did, kind of. But for some reason, they made the Monster of the Week have a crush on her. He gave her a love potion, but she was looking at a screen when she got the potion, so she fell in love with Jake instead of the monster. The grass is always greener or bluer. Jake switches bodies with Noah to make footage make more sense because green was the smart one in Gokaiger. You'd think there'd be some sort of lesson here, like most body swaps, but no.
If this was not a kid's show, they would have done like a Scooby-Doo 2002 body swap where Jake is in Gia's body and he's like, I could look at myself, Nikki.
Well, that's probably why they didn't do it, because in the Sentai, green and yellow switch. So they were like, oh, we can't do that. Also, they've done cross-gender body swaps after and before, but I guess they were like, yeah, we can't do that. No.
Well, yeah, because they're romantically linked, so.
Tyler and Shelby switched bodies in Dino Charge, but they didn't do anything creepy there.
Well, Tyler would never.
Oh, he would never. He respects Shelby way too much.
Yeah.
So moving on to Gia, the yellow Megaforce Ranger and yellow Super Megaforce Ranger.
Law of the Tiger! Megaforce Yellow! Super Megaforce Yellow!
So Gia Moran is a leather jacket girly that is chosen to become the yellow Megaforce Ranger for her being calm under pressure and pursues excellence. So I guess she's a Mary Sue.
You take that back. Don't talk about my girl Gia like that.
That's what they said. She's perfect. So Gia is cool. Coolio. And that's pretty much on the head of Gia's actor, Sierra Hanna, who gives her the coolest factor because we know the show doesn't do shit for her. They don't even give her a focus episode. Technically, there's United We Stand with Emma, but that's about it.
And that's the best episode of the season, so.
Speaking of that, a lot of Gia's focus relates to someone else. Either Jake is creeping on her, with her denying his advances until she kisses him on the cheek in the finale, and being besties with Emma, which verges on a lesbian relationship.
They've totally experimented.
Oh, 100%.
I ship them way more than Jake and Gia.
So Gia really doesn't have a lot going on here besides little things here and there. Like the head nod from Prince Takes Night. That's iconic. That's an iconic gift right there.
She's there. She's fierce.
Maybe if they did more with her, we'd like her less. Like the next character on our list, Emma Goodall, the pink Megaforce Ranger and the pink Super Megaforce Ranger.
Flames of the Phoenix! Megaforce Pink! Super Megaforce Pink!
Emma Goodall is a photographer / BMX girly that is chosen to become the pink Megaforce Ranger for her BMX skills and love of the environment. So Emma has the distinction of having the most focus episodes out of everyone in a season where Gia barely has one focus episode, which I feel like is a hindrance because it makes her character go all over the place. She's pretty much a different character in every episode she has. So let's talk about those focus episodes. United We Stand, like we just said, shared focus with Gia that focuses on their friendship because they're besties and is some great shipping fodder.
The girls are fighting.
Harmony and Discord, shared focus with Troy, where we learn Emma can sing.
Stirs my soul, my heart deep inside me, sense my worth as one with earth, a greater whole, all connected as one. So bloom, bloom, and share your sweet perfume, flowers bloom.
Troy, what are you doing here?
Sorry, I saw you earlier, but you didn't hear me. Wow, Emma, you're an incredible singer.
but only in this episode, that helps defeat the monster of the week. We also learn that Emma's mom might be dead. It's more than everyone else when it comes to family life. We don't see anyone's parents this season. Not a single one.
Who gives a fuck?
After the season, Dino Charge, Ninja Steel, there are characters in those seasons that are integral to the plot.
Not every season needs parents, honestly. I don't think parents in this would have made a damn difference. It would have been a filler episode.
Like most of the season. Dream Snatcher focuses on her love for the environment when a toxic beast uses a dream to pollute the earth, and also her love of dreams, which helps her and the other civilians trapped in the dream world to escape. Rico the robot.
Oh, God.
This really wanted to be Wasp with a heart.
You could never be her.
Do not stand where she stood! Emma befriends one of Metal Alice's robots named Rico that attempts to rip off Wasp with a heart, but doesn't come anywhere near. Side tangent, Rico should have just died. We never see him again because they couldn't bother to film footage of him on the moon or something. He's just floating in space somewhere. And in the SENTAI, I think the character just blows up too. It's like, oh yeah, Rico's gone somewhere. Okay. Raising spirits! Emma bakes a pie for Ernie, so I guess she's a cook now. It's honestly just as you see SENTAI footage where Pink uses flour to fight the monster of the week. Spirit of the Tiger! Oh my god, they're still going, by the way. Shared focus with Jake, where Emma stalks Casey into helping her train to fight like a pie schwa. She also learns that she has the spirit of Phoenix. United as one! Shared focus with Orion, where Emma gives a bunch of costume changes to confuse the monster that steals happiness.
So camp.
So yeah, Emma gets a lot of focus, but not a lot of development, just like most things in Megaforce and Super Megaforce. She's nice, I guess.
They gave her a lot of stuff towards the end with Orion. I kind of wish they got paired up or something.
They could have developed that more. Like, when Orion is leaving, she gets very sad. And you think they would have done something with that. Orion appeared, like, in the last 10 episodes of the season, so you're just kind of just rushing to the end.
And he's missing in a handful of those still.
He's just racing to leave. Moving on. On to Robo Knight.
I am Robo Knight, protector of the environment.
Ugh.
Robo Knight is a robot that's also technically the 6th Ranger Megaforce, if you go by Gokaiju rules, because he's on that little chest thingy. Anyways, he's one of Gosei's toys that he made to protect the environment, giving him the skills of a knight. He then just neglected him for 1,000 years, and he ends up in a block of ice until he's freed by Earth, because blah 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 climate change. However, while Robo Knight was created by Gosei, he doesn't remember anything but protecting the environment, to his robo brain being corrupted, so he needs to relearn teamwork and blah blah blah, all those things that we learned from Power Ranger seasons. He pretty much becomes the main character of the story, for better or worse, with the Power Rangers and others teaching him basic skills like rapping.
Check it, Rangers.
What?
I had a lot of questions about human emotion. They were vexing me, hexing me like some sorcerer's potion. So I followed the advice of my good friend Noah. And to the city library this robot did go. I found books galore of every shape and size on a variety of topics. But what opened the eyes of Robo Knight, the very most by far, was some knowledge there dropped by my little homie Todd, who turned me on to hip hop.
Oh lord, the robo rap.
What episode is that?
The Human Condition? Robo Knight disappears, however, after the fight with Messenger and before the Armada, which the team cares about for 2 whole episodes before he's ever mentioned again until Vrak is back, where he's corrupted by Vrak until Troy goes Super Saiyan to cure him. But not for long due to Robo Knight sacrificing himself to save Orion from Vrak's lab before it explodes. And this is where I'd say, wow, what a noble sacrifice. But no! Robo Knight is revived by the Morphin Masters, I guess, because we see him for 2 seconds during the legendary battle, because Troy sees him in his stupid dreams, so he had to show up. Shows how much they planned ahead. So this is what I would have done. I would have made Orion use his Ranger key in remembrance, but no, we're in a sacrifice. Overall, Robo Knight is, you have better Robo characters.
I cannot stand the voice acting. I am sorry.
The voice actor, Chris Auer, is the assistant director of this season, and assistant director from In Space to Wild Force, who came back for the same role here, so they decided to give him a voice job, even though he never voice acted before this.
That is so bizarre. Maybe the voice is fine, it's just the filter they put on it is awful.
They've given people that worked behind the scenes acting jobs before. Jackie voiced a monster in Space, but you don't give someone who's never voice acted before a fucking main role. You don't give them the 6th Ranger. Alright, let's move on to Orion, the Silver Super Megaforce Ranger.
Super Megaforce Silver!
easily the best character of the season. And of course, he's only in like 6 episodes of the season, being introduced almost halfway through the second season, which is wild to me.
Why didn't they introduce him earlier in Super Mega? You're burning through so many episodes anyway.
Because Gokaiger, I think Guy wasn't introduced until like episode 17 or something. But you're only using 20 episodes from Gokaiger, so. He also has a backstory and a life outside being a Power Ranger, which you can't really say about most of this team.
A backstory?
What's that? So let's talk about Orion's backstory. So Orion was a miner on the planet Andrasia, finding the legendary Silver Morpher. No idea how that got there. I think Gosei mentions.
I thought that the key had been destroyed along with your planet.
Why did you leave it on Andrasia?
Because he knew that a warrior would need to arise.
Prior to the Armada invading his home planet, with him being the lone survivor somehow. So I guess the Armada wiped out an entire species, and I guess the way Orion avoided is that he hid behind some rocks.
Well, yeah, rocks protect you.
Anyways, Orion is just vibing on Andrasia for himself for a bit, biding his time, letting his hair grow out, getting his clothes all tattered up.
We got one outfit. He probably lives in a cave.
So yeah, he's just vibing until he finds a red Armada ship. So he uses that to travel to Earth, using the legendary Silver Morpher to become the Silver Super Megaforce Ranger. Fighting the Armada solo. The episode he's introduced, he gets to the fight before the other Rangers, so it's like a big mystery about who this Ranger is. And it's like, oh, some guy we've never met before, okay. But yeah, that whole, oh, I'm gonna invent my planet because I'm a dark and brooding character, that's only in the first episode. After this, he becomes like a precious little Sunin role after joining the team, getting a makeover by the girlies, being a fish out of water when he doesn't know what a rock concert is, and dancing around in his silver shiny undies. I love that. That's the stuff I wanted from Megaforce.
It's like, babe, why are you here? But also, I really don't care because you're dancing in your underwear.
I need some life from this season, for Christ's sakes. He also works at Ernie's during this time on Earth and sleeps in a locker at Harwood County High School.
That is so fucking dumb. The base has cots. How do you sleep in a locker? You're standing. Also, okay, skinny legend, you can fit in a fucking locker. Fuck you.
Anyways, Orion is such a lovely character. He just doesn't get a lot of screen time, unfortunately. Like I said earlier, he's introduced in episode 29 of 42 episodes, so there's not a lot of time left. And on top of that, Orion is gone from the handful episodes. He straight up doesn't show up in the Lear Vera Love Potion episode, and only shows up at the end of the Body Swap episode. He's also sidelined when Vrak comes back, being captured and in a coma for 2 episodes. He also leaves for no reason. He just goes back to Andrasia after they defeat Damaris. So yeah, he goes back to a planet that doesn't have any other people. Not to mention there's still Armada bitches to deal with. He also comes back at the end, but I don't get why he left. Even Cameron Chabo doesn't know why he left.
I don't think the writers know why he left.
He's not in footage of fighting Levira, but who cares?
Or just, I don't know, film something.
Overall, Orion is a good egg of a nasty dozen. I wish we had more screen time because he was a good egg. One weird thing about his character was that they were kind of forcing that Orion and romance at the end. That baffled me.
They were not forcing anything. That was natural. That was charisma. That was chemistry.
But let's talk about someone that has none of those qualities. Gosei.
I am Gosei. My mentor Zordon placed me here to be guardian of this planet. I am of the Earth, and embody its great and mystical power.
Gosei is a big tiki head in a wall, but not really, because apparently he doesn't look like that. He's just a form he took. He's some sort of being that wakes up when great evil comes to Earth, but he didn't wake up a dozen other times prior to this. He just wakes up because bugs are here.
I mean, I don't blame him. There better be no bugs in my house.
So he pulls a Zordon, chooses 5 teenagers with attitude, and makes them Power Rangers. Speaking of Zordon, he was Zordon's student. We never get anything beyond that, because of course.
It was just supposed to be,
just a little Easter egg.
Which was Day of the Dumpster.
So Gosei is a terrible mentor, not really being a mentor, and more of like a sugar daddy, giving the Megaforce Rangers new weapons, new Zords, and powers for no reason other than teamwork.
Is Gridmaster Emerald our sugar daddy for giving us new weapons and everything?
Maybe. We kind of earned them because we went through trials, but we're actually doing stuff for our powers. They just handed it because they were able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Oh. Well, that's what happens when you're hot. You know, things just get handed to you.
Speaking of handing out powers, in Super Megaforce, we just have him give the Megaforce Rangers brand new, stronger powers out of nowhere. No reason as to why they didn't give them powers day one. He just like, hey, new powers. Overall, Gosei is a terrible character. His his last scene is literally telling his team, good luck, we're all counting on you. The show itself kind of forgets he existed too, because having Zordon Student be a character I feel like should be important, but we never have him acknowledged or seen again after this season. Wouldn't it have been interesting if he just showed up or just mentioned it once and always or Cosmic Fury?
Ew.
There's some potential there. He's Zordon's student. You think Billy would like call him up or something like, hey, go say.
I don't think anyone cares, and that's exactly why they didn't do that.
I'm just saying that potential. Speaking of wasted potential, Tensu.
It worked! It worked!
What is that? Wow. An old school robot. Like in the movies.
Old school!
This motherfucker, how is he an assistant? He doesn't even have goddamn hands. He's like 2 feet tall.
Now, at least Glitchy has arms.
He's cute.
Tensu is the robotic assistant to Gosei, and that's about it.
Flipping that and looking at Mighty Morphin, who is Alpha. He's just a robotic assistant. Alpha had charm.
He had arms.
He did stuff outside of the base on a regular basis.
Tensu leaves the base once. We'll talk about that in a minute, but all he does is just roll around in his wheels and says, oh boy, and then like just informs the team about shit going down.
How does anyone get shit done in this base? If there were no rangers, Gosei doesn't have arms or legs. Tensu doesn't have arms.
How are they able to use the console? Does he have Bluetooth?
Is it all Bluetooth? He just is like, I want to do this, and then it does that.
There's a scene where you see him do work on the command center because it becomes a Zord. How is he able to do that with no arms?
He just willed it into existence, I guess.
Maybe they're like hidden inside his little chassis or whatever. So yeah, he's just a nothing character pretty much, and a waste of CGI because this character is literally CGI the entire time. They had a practical in the episode where he gets struck by lightning, his one focus episode. He gets amnesia and runs around town, and we see that he has a practical prop, but that's the only episode they used it really. So yeah, that was his one focus episode. He's kind of a nothing character. They were trying to just make him an alpha by like, why didn't he just be an alpha? You could just made like him alpha whatever. I'd say alpha 8, but they gave us alpha 8, so. And he died. RIP. It would make sense it would be an alpha because Gosei is connected to Zordon. Alright, moving on to Mr. Burley.
Okay, class, let's start the year with a science brain teaser. What species will outlast all others on Earth?
He is there.
Because this is a high school season and we need a teacher. He's one of the teachers, well, not one of the teachers, the only teacher in Harwood County.
Yeah, no one else teaches at that school.
From your Super Megaforce, they were like, we need a teacher. And they were like, where's Mr. Burley? Because that's the only teacher we have. So yeah, he's a goofy goober being obsessed with cryptozoology, which you would think be something they would use when the toxic beasts show up. But no, because the toxic beasts are like based off like cryptid mythological creatures. There's just like one instance where it's like,
Oh, great Caesar salad! Bigfoot was here!
He's also interacts with Noah because he's the smart one, and I guess he's a kiss-ass because he's the teacher's pet.
Well, they both have glasses, so...
He also doesn't really have any kind of final scene. The last time we see him is him hiding in the school during the Armada's final invasion.
Did he deserve a final scene?
Usually in a season with side characters, and a season where there's a big invasion over the city, you think they would just shove him in a scene. Because there's a scene in the Legendary Battle where we see civilians huddled up and stuff, and they try to like fight against the Armada, like another season that did that. Countdown.
Countdown's not a season.
In space. In space. And he's taken out of the opening credits in season 2, so I see why, because he's kind of a pointless character. Speaking of another pointless character, let's talk about Ernie.
Hey, Tips. What can I get for you?
Ernie, clearly named after a similar character, is the owner of Ernie's Brain Freeze, frozen yogurt bar located in the mall that the Megaforce Rangers regularly frequent.
I'm sorry, why are they eating all of this frozen yogurt? Doesn't that send a bad message to the children?
Froyo is kind of healthier for you.
Girl, barely. Are you kidding me? Also, you don't go to Froyo for the yogurt. You go to Froyo for the topping.
We barely see them eat Froyo. It's always like some weird shakes. So yeah, it kind of baffled me that they named them early. I mean, I know why they called him Ernie, because Mighty Morphin got it.
He didn't have to specifically be Ernie.
This could have been the chain Ernie came up with and he was the manager. I always say this, but this is the season where they should have had Bulk, and Bulk should have been the guy that runs this place.
Well, they already used him up.
Get Bulk for a season card for Samurai.
Where he's living in a garage with a fucking annoying little kid. Ugh.
So Ernie really doesn't do much except hand out drinks and Froyo to teens. And he's like a little goofy goober, like, oh, he's like singing, he's like dancing along to the bad music. Isn't he so quirky? quirky. Yeah, they could have made him a parent maybe to one of the Megaforce Rangers. That could have been potential. I guess he gives Orion a job in Super Megaforce, and they have like a cute little dynamic for like 2 episodes before he leaves for Andrasia.
Why did Orion even need a job? He doesn't pay rent or anything. He doesn't have a room. He doesn't buy clothes. He has one outfit. Why do you need money?
All in all, Ernie's just there. No surprise they took him out of the opening too. Speaking of characters that are just there, let's talk about some villains. Admiral Malcor.
I am Malcor!
Admiral Malcor is arguably the main villain of Power Rangers Megaforce, being the leader of the War Star, a group of alien bugs that come to Earth in order to make the bugs of the Earth the leading race. So Malcor kind of oversees his welcome. Sure, he seems to be an important character, but when they start using footage after his SENTAI counterpart is destroyed, he really doesn't do much.
He didn't do much to begin with. What are you talking about? He never leaves his ship until the episode he dies.
Yeah, all he does is give Vrak orders and then he enters the cocoon after the toxic beast's destroyed. Speaking of the cocoon, he doesn't really change that much after the cocoon, and I guess he's not really that stronger because the Megaforce Rangers don't even go into Ultra mode or use their stronger Megazord formations to beat him. And they don't even need Robo Knight either. Yeah, he's a generic villain. The only cool thing about him is that it's Campbell Cooley's first villain role, well, recurring villain role.
He's more generic than Master Xandred.
Also, one little thing about Malcor that was kind of confusing towards the end is they kind of talked in a way where he was associated with the Armada.
It's unthinkable that Creepox, Biggs, Bloofer, and the Aurora box have all been destroyed. Earth should have been ours by now.
True, but we still have a little time left, right?
Yes, but not that much. You and I must complete this mission before the others arrive.
I didn't know the War Star and the Armada were linked together. Should have been the same faction, but whatever. Okay, let's talk about an interesting villain, Vrak.
Fear isn't in my vocabulary, but you should be afraid, especially now.
The only memorable villain in Megaforce. He's the second-born prince of the Armada that joined the War Star for some reason. I guess he likes bugs. Maybe because there's an episode where he talks about bugs being superior.
This planet's insects will never evolve enough to rise up against the humans, but we insectoids from space will do it for them.
The real reason could have been he wanted to prove himself that he could do stuff without his royal family because he didn't want to be a Nepo baby. But then he has access to stuff from his family like the Zombets and the Aurora box, so I guess that's not the reason.
I would just say own it. If you have nepotism on your side in this economy, work it, earn it, you know?
They also could have made them the first wave of the War Star with Malcor and Creepox being generals, but that would just make too much sense. Anyways, Vrax works under Malcor as a strategic planner, coming up with plans to invade Earth, and I guess his representative to the Toxic Beast because he never interacts with them, because God forbid we film original footage. But Vrak isn't loyal to Malcor and the War Star, shown when he builds a secret lab in Metal House without Malcor knowledge and calling Malcor a fool when he enters his cocoon. So yeah, there's no loyalty there. He does assist in Malcor's fight against the Megaforce Rangers, piloting the War Star ship for Malcor to crash in Harrow County, and ends up being severely injured when the Megaforce Rangers destroy Malcor. He is found by Metal Alice later on, giving cybernetic implants, and gets amnesia for half an episode until he regains it and fights the Megaforce Rangers for a bit until his allies are destroyed and hides in his little lab for most of Super Megaforce because Messenger forgot to mention Vrak's alive. So Vrak is absent for most of Super Megaforce, but is mentioned throughout, where we learn he got an elder brother and father who prefers Vrak over Vakar. Vrak does reappear, however, when his brother is destroyed, inheriting the Prince title, and this is where we learn that Vrak has Robo Knight in his base this entire time and was slowly reprogramming him this whole time. He also captures Orion, so the Super Megaforce powers are blocked, so they won't have to film a lot of original footage. Vrak also gains a new form since we last saw him, and reveals his plan of using 3 Jills to destroy the Earth until the Megaforce Rangers are able to use the powers of an eclipse to tap into enough power to destroy Vrak and their weaker powers. Oh, and we see his dead body. So yeah, I like Vrak overall. He's very entertaining and actually has motivation and backstory.
He's fierce, I like him.
Let's talk about a not so good character. Creepox!
My name is Creepox. Remember it!
Creepox is one of the War Star generals, and we really don't know a lot about Creepox, except he hates humans, I guess. He's creepy. He's a big bug. He has a rivalry with Troy, who he interacts with in Episode 2, fights in Episode 4, and fights again in Episode 7, where he's destroyed after Troy talks about tears.
Take a good look. Do you see any tears?
Honestly, that's it. He has a rivalry Troy, and dies early. I guess he butts heads with Vrak because he prefers brute strength to fight the Megaforce Rangers. Moving on to Bloofer and Biggs.
Humans think you can stop us? What? Us mutants are unstoppable!
I can't wait to bash these little runts! I'll stomp you all into dust! Ha!
The Toxic Beasts. So Bloofer and Biggs are the leaders of the Toxic Beast monsters made from pollution that in no way sound like the orgs, right? Couldn't connect them to the orgs in an anniversary season. Anyways, they talk about how much they hate pollution in their introduction, but then they want to cover the earth in pollution? That doesn't contradict yourself, right? So after Malcor sees them on his big computer screen, he orders Vrak to make an alliance with them, because they need to start using monsters from this part of Ghostager. Bloofer and Biggs agree to this alliance, which kind of confuses me because they really don't seem to get anything out of this. So Bloofer and Biggs are mostly here to use Sentai footage in a handful of episodes until they're given the Aurora box, which they used to cover Harwood County and Slime, until they are both destroyed by the Gosei Ultimate Megazord. They were somewhat entertaining, but I really didn't feel like a big contribution into the overall story of Megasource. They're just here to use footage. That's about it.
Whatever.
Moving on to Metal Alice.
I am Metal Alice. I am your creation master.
Slay.
She's made after the Toxic Beasts are destroyed because I guess we're in our Robo era now, and Vrak needs someone to interact with in his little Robo base. She makes robots for him, which is pretty much just 2 little robots, and then that's about it. And there's also an episode where they delay a train. That is the stupidest premise. We'll get to that later. She also really hates humans, and she tries to get Robonite on their side, but he's not about it. He's like, no thanks.
I would have joined her side.
It's also very interesting that Vrak never mentions the fact that he made Metal Alice to Malcor. She's not in the episode where Malcor fights, because in the next episode we see Metal Alice picking up Vrak's nearly dead body and making him a cyborg. And then she sits on the sidelines again after the messenger comes, and she kind of becomes a little pick-me girl when she's like,
I waited for you to summon me, but you never did.
and she gets blown up in 2 seconds. She's on the ground. Vrak's like, oh, you've outlived your usefulness, and blows her up for some reason. I don't know why.
That's crazy. Why does he kill her in the Sentai?
In the Sentai, that villain faction wasn't created by his Sentai counterpart. He was just forced into it. And after he got his memories back, he was just like, fuck this. Clean slate. Overall, Metal Alice is just okay.
She's fierce. She's sickening.
All right, moving on to the Messenger.
Messenger reporting from Earth. The resistance has been defeated, and you are cleared for attack. The time is at hand for the total destruction of Earth.
Messenger's an Armada general who just shows up and is like, I'll help you, Vrak. I'll help you fight for 2 episodes. He trusts the Gosei morphers, Robonite cures them, and then he just turns into a head. So yeah, that's Messenger. He's just vibing in a quarry somewhere because he's just a head. Okay, moving on to Prince Vakar.
I am Prince Vakar. Consider this your eviction notice. Luckily, I'm feeling generous, so I will give you 2 options. Surrender or be destroyed.
An icon, a legend, the moment.
He's Vrak's older brother, so he gets the prince title of the Armada, but he's an empty-headed blunderer, something his father calls him, so of course hilarity ensues. It's kind of interesting how blundering he becomes, because he starts off as somewhat of a proper, chill prince for like the first 2 episodes, until he becomes the Prince Vakar we all know and love. So Vakar mostly stays on the sideline for his tenure, yelling at people for being taller than him, hilariously ringing a bell to get the butler a drink. That was really funny. Alright, so Vakar essentially is like 2 times he goes down. He goes down with his dad's general who comes to the ship, Megaforce, and he's kind of like a little bitch because he's like, oh yeah, I'm Prince Vakar.
Girl, He's like, I'm Prince Vakar. Get off my planet.
Noah just pew-pews him and he's like,
owie. Daddy, kiss it. Kiss my boo-boo.
And then the second time he goes down, when his daddy gives him a Megazord, it literally has his face on it. It's fucking hilarious.
Is that my face on its chest? I love it.
Of course, he's like, I'm gonna pilot it myself, and then he ends up getting blown up.
R.I.P. Legend.
And you know what was kind of fucked up too? When Mavro comes, he hangs up a picture of Vakar, not Vrak. Shows how much you care about your other fucking son. Alright, moving on to Damaris.
Vengeance is mine. Prepare for your destruction.
So Damaris is Prince Vakar's advisor that was assigned to him by his dad. Is like, make sure he doesn't blow himself up, okay? And he blows himself up. Well, I mean, to be fair, Mavro sent him a Megazord to fight, but he didn't say he was the one that had to pilot it. So yeah, he essentially stays on the ship for most of the season, just being like, oh, is that a good idea, Vakar? That's about it. Until the episode where Mavro shows up and he's like, prove yourself, bitch, in the field of battle. And this is where we learn that Damaris is the most powerful warrior in the universe, according to Orion. And I'm like, what? I guess he's able to fight off the Megaforce Rangers and kidnap Troy. And then he literally crucifies him and sends off a streaming thing. And he's like, I'm Melissa in the Megaforce suit. So nobody's like, I know who that looks like. Because you see scenes of like Ernie watching it on TV. So I was like, you don't recognize him? I mean, he just has a blindfold on.
Well, there's a blindfold on, so how can you tell? I didn't know he was kinky like that.
This is the episode where you made the Troy thing from.
I know. I slayed that.
They're able to defeat him because I guess this is time to die. So they destroy him, and that's about it.
He has a cape.
Moving on to Levira.
No, no, no! Levira!
Don't worry. I have a backup plan.
Or should I say Green Metal Owls, because she is essentially the same character. She's the science girly of the season. She makes monsters grow. And, that's about...
She's the girly. She needs her flowers for being the girl.
There's a few episodes where she goes to Earth, one being Love is the Air, where Prince Vikar's butler, Invidious, puts a love potion in her drink without her consent. Because that's not creepy, right? Oof. So that makes her fall in love with Jake, an underage high school kid. Another yikes. She does fight again in the RPM, quote-unquote, tribute episode, where she fights Professor Cog, who the fuck is he? And the episode that is essentially her endgame, when Emperor Mavro orders her to pilot a giant robot with her face on it. Another giant robot with a face on it to fight the Super Megaforce Rangers. That's destroyed in like 2 seconds. And she fights Troy using MMPR Red, and then she's blasted with the Super Mega Cannon. Bye, bitch.
Bye.
Basic character. I have barely anything to say about her. But one interesting thing about her is she was originally called Princess Levira. Nightmare during Megaforce found a name for a character named Princess Levira. So maybe the original plan for her was that she was Prince Vikar's wife. Then they saw the Sentai footage and how over the top she was, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. Moving on to Argus.
Yes, boss.
He's a robot warrior. He says yes, boss. That's kind of it. He's kind of like Prince Vikar's bodyguard. Because in the Sentai, I know I'm saying this a lot, but in the Sentai, he was Gokai Blue's friend that was turned into a cyborg. That's why they have their little rivalry in Super Megaforce, but they did nothing with that. So their whole rivalry feels kind of empty because they didn't add anything. Could have been Robo Knight. Just saying. Moving on to Emperor Mavro.
People of Earth, hear me! I am Mavro, Emperor of the Armada. We control this entire galaxy. Only you and your Power Rangers dare to resist us. But it's over! We've won! Your Power Rangers have been destroyed! And you are all next! You have one last night to savor your despair! You will regret defying us! Tomorrow at dawn, we are coming back to finish you!
Emperor Mavro is the daddy of Karak and Vakar. Doesn't really look like either one of them. I guess they take after their mother.
I take after my mama too.
He's the Emperor of the Armada. Comes to Earth after his sons die. He tries to take over it. He fights Troy and Orion in his little chair. In the original cut of Legendary Battle, he's blown up when the ship crashes to Earth. But in the extended edition, he gets a little fight with multiple changes. And then he's destroyed with the cooler fight. Not a lot to say about Mavro. On to Red Curl.
Hope you all had a good night, because it was your last. It's time to crush you into dust.
Red Cur is Mavro's guard, and he's destroyed in like the next episode. That's about it. Alright, let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about the Mighty Morphin homages this season. With this being the 20th season, obviously, we gotta emphasize that Mighty Morphin magic. Like every season in the Neo Saban era except for Dino Charge, which is honestly the best season, like by like a fucking country mile.
Girl, Samurai is right there. It just does the theme song in bulk, really.
So let's talk about some of the things that try to recapture that Mighty Morphin magic. They're both high school seasons, but I don't think Megaforce uses high school aspects as much as Mighty Morphin does.
It's no Ninja Steel. Overuse.
Megaforce didn't use it enough. Ninja used it too much. They both have big head mentors, Zordon and Gosei. They both have robotic assistants, Alpha 5 and Tensu. They both have recurring teachers, Mr. Burley and Miss Appleby. They both have Ernie's. They both have teleportation. But unlike Mighty Morphin, Megaforce only uses it once.
That's so stupid. Why would you establish something and never use it? It's honestly a vehicle. It's a tool for you, a writer, to explain shit easily. Like, oh yeah, they just jumped over there. Whatever.
Let's talk about clothing choices. This is kind of small potatoes, but Megaforce decided to give each Megaforce Ranger one outfit for pretty much the entire season, with the exception of a work outfit in like one episode and beach gear. So let's talk about those lurks. Troy has a leather jacket, a red shirt, jeans, and Converses. Noah has a blue collared shirt, blue jacket, khakis, and weird shoes. I wouldn't know what to call them. Jake has a Harwood County hoodie, jeans, and white sneakers. Gia has a leather jacket, yellow shirt, tight black pants, and thigh-high boots. Emma has denim jacket, white shirt, pink short shorts, and brown boots. Let's talk about Mega being forced upon us. So with this team adapting 2 Sentai seasons and getting new suits, surely you would think the old suits would be retired from new ones, but nope. The powers that be decided to keep the Megaforce Ranger suits as the main suit. With all the original footage for this, instead of using those resources from our legendary Ranger modes, you would think, just for them to morph into Super Mega mode with 2 seconds later. So the Go Kaiju suits are essentially a power-up when it really doesn't have to be.
I never understood that. They gave themselves more work to do by having to film original footage that is just a crutch. It doesn't do anything. You had a perfect way to write out the morphers at the end of the first season.
They could have had Robonite cure them, because they get rusted in the finale. Robonite's just like, I have the power to give you one more fight, and then you just introduce the new suits in Super Megaforce. There you go. But they didn't do that.
They could have just pulled a Mighty Morphin to Zeo kind of thing.
The more baffling thing about this mess is that Megaforce to Super Megaforce isn't required. It's not a conduit you need to go to Super Megaforce, because there are episodes where they go straight to Super Mega. And I don't know why they needed to keep the suits around, except for the fucking Wreck is Back two-parter. That is literally the only reason why they kept these suits around so long. But the Megaforce suits are the only baffling thing this season. Let's move on to new powers.
Bring on the new powers!
With Super Megaforce being only 20 episodes, you would think there would be forethought into what changes they use so that each ranger and team gets their time to shine, but you would think wrong, because if this is Super Megaforce.
Girl, they are cutting out half of the season. They could have pulled fights from other episodes that they are not touching so that they could work around Sentai only suits. They could have worked around it.
They should have been more attentive in what episodes they adapted. And the thing is also, with new powers, that could have been an easy way to be like, let's just get a random actor from New Zealand and say they're part of this cast, like, to explain things, but they didn't even bother to do that either. The Boom comics explored that potential, so that's something.
That's what the comics are for.
But let's talk about some of those teams. Squadron, which is Die Rangers, which they use kind of the most out of the new powers. And funnily enough, MMPR White looks so similar to them. I wonder why.
I know, I love that change where they're like, let's go Squadron, and Orion's like, I'll go Mighty Morphin. Like, girl, they have the same belt buckle, but all right.
Prism. Prism is the name given to the Flashman changes, with Jake and Emma becoming 2 of the Prism Rangers. The Prism Rangers used in the comics are one of the teams killed off by Astronema in her early days. Womp womp.
Slay. Deserved.
Lightning. Lightning is a name given to Maskman changes, with Gia and Noah becoming 2 Lightning Rangers. Blitz. Blitz is the name given to Changeman changes, with all 5 becoming the Rangers from that team. Supersonic is the name given to 5-man changes, with Gia transforming into a Ranger from this team. The Supersonic Rangers are seen in the comic story Psychotic, being based in Zybria and being killed by its Green, who becomes Psycho Green. One bizarre thing about these new powers is that there's actually one shot where they filmed the suits in original footage instead of filming, I don't know, an in-space change, a Lightspeed Rescue change, a Time Force change, anniversary celebration. So due to this being an anniversary season and adapting Gokaiger for Super Megaforce, we get a few returning characters and aspects from other seasons. You'd think it would be fun and exciting, but not really in most places. A lot of these aspects feel either forced due to Sentai footage or kinda lazy. So let's talk about some of those returning aspects. Returning characters, Zords, and locations. Delta Runner 1. Delta Runner 1 is the Zord used with the SPD Ranger keys, which doesn't really make any sense since the events of SPD didn't happen yet in this timeline. But it's unlocked in an episode where nothing SPD related happened except they use the SPD Ranger keys. The Mystic Dragon. The Mystic Dragon is unlocked using the Mystic Force Ranger keys for some reason. The episode doesn't even feature a Mystic Force Ranger morph, but I guess Noah had an attack that used the blue Mystic Ranger key, so I guess that's something. The Red Lion Zord / Animarium. Super Megaforce finally dives into something in the PRU. The Super Megaforce Rangers travel to the floating island in the sky, the Animarium, which is called Animaria here for some reason. Animaria is the civilization from 3,000 years ago. The Animarium is the island, so they call it Animaria instead of Animarium. You think this wouldn't be a problem because there's a freaking writer from Wild Force writing on the season, and the season in general having the same showrunner from that season.
This is super mega flop, honeys. And the only reason they're actually going to the same island is because that's Sentai. That's lifted. Same thing for Wild Force, but everything else that they visit looks nothing like it.
Anyway, the Super Mega Force Rangers head to the Animarium, which is super empty. Literally the only Zord we see is the Red Lion Wild Zord. We don't see Princess Shayla. Maybe the Red Lion Wild Zord ate her in the Zord. That's why it's so fucking big.
Not Princess Shayla. Spit her out.
She's probably sleeping. The Super Mega Force Rangers are able to tame the Red Lion for some reason, which is weird because it goes from throwing them off the Animarium to being friendly with the Super Mega Force Rangers for absolutely no reason. If only they could have gotten a Power Ranger back to cameo that played a character in the season before this one. Rick Medina.
Oh, right. Well,
this was before the incident.
Oh, okay. I feel like having that in a back-to-back situation would be like, he looks just like Decker. And it's supposed to be like the same universe, so.
Kind of their mistake for fucking casting Rick Medina as Decker. I never got why they did that. Speaking of Samurai, let's talk about our first returning Ranger of the season, Jade and Shiba.
Get into your opponent's head. Use your instincts to sense their next move and feel their attack coming. Plane, please.
Plane. Okay, coming up right away.
What? You never seen a Ranger order a Froyo before?
Yes.
We finally get a returning character with Mentor Jian Jing showing up in Harwood County to get some Froyo.
We get that iconic zoom in on his little face.
Why did they do that? He gives Noah a power disc and passes on the powers of the Samurai Rangers to the Super Megaforce Rangers, giving the Red Lion Wild Zord symbol power? That's a Gokaiger thing. This was honestly a solid tribute episode.
Yeah, I like this one.
Let's talk about the second returning Ranger, Casey Rhodes, the Red Jungle Fury Ranger.
Aren't you gonna answer those morphers?
Wait. How?
I'm the Jungle Fury Red Ranger. Couldn't reveal my true identity until I knew you were ready. But now it's time for you guys to go save the world.
Okay, this is amazing.
Yeah, you are amazing. Thank you so much.
Go!
Amazing.
Go!
So Casey makes his grand return only because his actor, Jason Smith, was a writer on Super Megaforce, but he didn't write this episode for some reason. Casey's in Harwood County pulling double duty as a zookeeper and a Paiswa teacher who teaches Jake and Emma how to harness their animal spirits to help defeat an Armada commander. He's also a ghost, maybe? Because at the end of the episode, he just disappears and none of the other Rangers see him but Emma and Jake. The Q-Rex Megazord. Orion's Zord is called the Q-Rex, but it's not the Q-Rex from Time Force, but it does come from the future. So that's kind of confusing. It looks nothing like the Q-Rex from Time Force. The Mini Zord comes back in a very disrespectful way, but it kind of looks like the Mini Zord from Ninja Storm, but it's not, and it's
the Ninja Zord.
I have no idea why it's unlocked. I guess Ninja Storm and Super Megaforce did a body swap episode, so if you want to say it's something from that, it's that, I guess. So moving on. Professor Cog, Corinth, and the Turbo Falcon Zord. So Professor Cog is back. Remember him? I don't remember him in RPM, but I remember him in Clash of the Red Rangers. It still doesn't explain who the fuck he is, but moving on.
Well, Clash of the Red Rangers is masterclass of cinema compared to RPM,
So Professor Cog is able to trick the Super Megaforce Rangers into traveling into Corinth while he harasses a farmer to drive him to Harwood County to fight the Armada. Speaking of Corinth, the Dome City is completely different how it looked RPM. It's like a futuristic highway like some sort of machine world. Anywho, the Turbo Falcon Zord, a new Zord, I guess Dr. K built, she's not around for some reason. It's just running around this long-ass highway Corinth decided to build and is eventually tamed by the Super Megaforce Rangers. So with its help, they return to the main dimension because this is pre-transportal device and I guess we can't go on the little train in Panorama 70. So they help defeat Professor Cook for good, I guess. He isn't rebuilt this time and that's all the tributes we got. Half of them just Zords and half of them were 2 Rangers. The rest of them are shoved into the legendary battle.
We're here to fight by your side.
Woo! So despite being hyped for as long as Gokaiger existed, the production team really didn't have a plan to have cameos for the legendary battle until the very last minute. So to think we couldn't have gotten any cameos if we didn't make a big stink about it. Anyway, they sent a generic letter to pretty much every ranger they had contact. A lot of them said no because of the disrespect. But they were able to get around a dozen veteran rangers to go to New Zealand to film a scene of them doing heroic stuff and post Heimlis in a quarry in their suit. So let's see who answered the email. Chami!
Grab my hand. It's okay. I'm here to help you.
I can't. I'm scared.
Hold on to this. Come on. That's it. Great job. Careful.
Tommy is here, of course, saving a kid from a dangling car at the edge of a bridge.
Help! Help! Someone please help me!
So Tommy saves him while wearing white and having him clench onto Saba's throat. You're choking him!
Maybe Saba likes it.
He later shows up to the legendary battle, sporting his MMPR Green Ranger suit and spews some generic dialogue before fighting with the other Power Rangers and disappearing with a golden glow. Thanks, Master Green! Next up in our little cameo corner is TJ Johnson and Cassie Chan.
Help! We're trapped!
No one can hear us!
Hello?
Hold on. We'll get you out.
Oh, come on.
Here, take my hand.
Don't worry. You're safe now.
And they are representing their space colors, the blue Space Ranger and the pink Space Ranger. TJ and Cassie are shown saving some villains from an elevator before showing up to the legendary battle in their Space Ranger suits. Next up is Leo Corbett, the red Galaxy Ranger.
You found him! Is he okay?
Here you go. He's all right.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Danny, and this is Bigsley.
Nice names.
Danny! Mom! He saved Bigsley!
Leo in his same clothes from the literal 90s. This season is set in 2014, by the way. And he's on Earth for some reason, even though he's supposed to be on Miranoi. So he saves a dog named Bigsley.
Nice names.
Next up is Damon, the Green Galaxy Ranger. He's just chilling at night before chilling in his suit. That's about it. Next up is Carone, the second Pink Galaxy Ranger.
I love being a Power Ranger.
Carone looks at the destruction of the Marta has caused to Haru County and she's like, you call this an invasion?
Girl, I had this whole world on its knees.
Anyways, we see her in her suit later like the others, but we actually get something cool from her. We get her looking at her helmet and she says, I love being a Power Ranger, before an image of Astronema flashes on her head before she puts on her helmet. That's pretty iconic. But yeah, a lot of Lost Galaxy in this battle.
Half of them.
Next up is the Lightspeed representation, Carter Grayson and Dana Mitchell, the red and pink Lightspeed Rangers.
Don't worry, guys. We've got this.
Everything seems fine. You're gonna be okay.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Honestly, I wish we got some more representation from other seasons, but they pretty much hit me in the seasons I was a kid for. So, like, In Space, Time Force. Mwah.
I mean, they only got back west for Time Force, so.
And that's it. Back to Lightspeed. Connor and Dana, sporting their Lightspeed jackets, are seen saving civilians from some rebel before heading to the legendary battle. And it's funny because Dana's just wearing high heels. I'm like, you probably shouldn't be wearing high heels at a rebel like that, but whatever. You look cunt.
Yeah, it's about serving the look.
We also see Ryan's suit without a fucking visor.
That is so dumb.
Wes Collins, the Red Time Force Ranger.
You've more than lived up to the legacy we've left for you. We're all very proud of you.
Because of course he's here. Looks at some civilians before speaking at some generic dialogue and posing in his suit. And lastly, two bitches that do nothing in Legendary Battle. Fangirl alert for the Samurai Stand. Mike and Emily, the green and yellow Samurai Ranger. Mike and Emily just pose in their suits. That's about it.
And that makes me so sad. They don't get any lines or anything.
I guess they were here for the younger fans because they need some fan service too. Couldn't get a Disney era Ranger. Not a single one.
Girl, Disney era, flop era. I'm just kidding. I love Disney.
So beyond the cameos in their suits for 5 seconds, we get some cliff posing. Turbo Pink jumps off a cliff while kicking an X-Borg. Some Samurai Rangers fight footage and the Megaforce Rangers saying how cool it is to fight with all these legendary Rangers.
Okay, then show it.
They could have got some cool combinations. Could have gotten all the pinks that came back to do some stuff.
This isn't Endgame. I mean, it should have been, but...
Oh, and Robonite randomly come back to life.
Glad to be back.
But yeah, most of the Legendary Battle is just Sentai footage we've seen already through Troy's Dream, and some random shots here and there. And they got Koichi back for this, by the way.
Waste. It's just Megaforce suits fighting X-Borgs. The stunts were cool.
There was just so much potential. We could have gotten a tribute to every season with a ranger from each season, but they just decided to cram a dozen rangers into one episode, give them generic dialogue, and have them pose in their suits.
Honestly, being the 20th anniversary, you could have dedicated each episode to a season.
This all feels pretty cheap, but speaking of that, we got to move on to the next thing. This being the most expensive season, quote unquote, because this was kind of gassed up as being the most expensive season, and I'm like, bitch, where there's a lot of episodes that are just like 90% of the Rotama Sentai footage. The sets are generic. We have a mall set, we have a school set, we got a cave with a tiki on the wall. They built a hallway for the Warstar ship. They built racks on their Water Lab, which is just the Sentai set they probably got from Japan, and the same thing with the Armada set they used for like 2 episodes. I guess they had to recreate all those Ranger suits, but they don't do anything with them. They have a Wild Force Legendary mode fight and a Lost Galaxy one, and that's it. Did they waste all their money on the cameos at the end that they weren't going to use originally? It just...
Maybe it was expensive because this was before the New Zealand grant? I don't know.
Let's talk about the true villain.
Saban.
And Jonathan Zakor. For those unaware, Jonathan Zakor is the showrunner of Power Rangers Megaforce, and with how much of a mess this season is, you would think this is his first time he ever worked on a Power Ranger season, but you'd be wrong. Besides working on this season, he worked on Samurai in the same capacity, and he worked on pretty much the entire Saban era in a different role, starting off in low-tier positions like director in MMPR and Zio, before coming showrunner in the second half of Turbo until Wild Force.
He seems so passionate about making Wild Force and Samurai so much like their Sentai counterparts. Why was that not reflected?
Maybe Saban executives were like, ease on that, try to make it more original, and they were like, just make an MMPR. You would think with that experience and pedigree of working on all those seasons, some of the best seasons, you'd think this would be a top-tier season. But you'd be wrong, because Zakor had a little help with his good stuff. Second half of Turbo to Time Force. Little guy named Judd Lin.
And Jackie.
They were a duo. So yeah, he was pretty much producer on those seasons, and he was the guy who reeled Zakor in from doing the bat stuff. So that's the reason why after Time Force, when he and Jackie left, there was a quality dip in Wild Force, becoming a copy-paste season of its Sentai counterpart, which is also the reason why Samurai kind of has the same problems there too, because he really loves those Sentais, or he just thinks it's easier. A lot of people say he's a Sentai fan, but I think he just likes to just copy-paste because it's easier than just coming up with original ideas. And honestly, the reason why Judd Lin left is because around the time towards his end of his tenure, it was just becoming copy-paste, because as good as Time Force is, it's pretty much like its Sentai counterpart Time Ranger.
And I also think of the turnaround too. They were probably really overworked, stressed out. This is when it was yearly.
Judd Lin was offered to become a part of the writer's room in Samurai, and he decided not not to do that because he didn't want to go back at his old ways, because he knew that if he worked for Zakor, he'd be like, just make it like Shinkenger. And that's what they did. And that's why I'm glad he waited until Zakor left, and then he was offered the executive producer job, and we got Dino Charge, and then Ninja Steel, and then Beast Morphers. His second era is very up, down, up. So back to Zakor. Zakor allegedly hated the Disney seasons and didn't think they were canon in his eyes, because that's the guy you want to work on an anniversary season, right?
Personal opinions aside, this is your job.
This kind of also made things awkward. He had to team up with RPM and Samurai, so he got things like Korn being in a different dimension, and Scott acting like his Sentai counterpart, and Professor Cog, period. This is also funny because the Zords in Super Megaforce are literally all Disney era seasons except for the Red Lion. That's a little karma. Mini Zord and Ninja Storm, Delta Runner, SPD, Mystic Dragon, Mystic Force, Turbo Falcon, RPM. So yeah, Zakor probably wasn't the right choice to do an anniversary season, which is probably why he was either fired or retired after this, replacing with Judd Lin, and then that was up in the right direction. So lastly, before we move on to our opinions, let's talk about some later appearances from characters from the season, which is only one. Gia in Super Ninja Steel's Dimension in Danger. Gia makes her return in Super Ninja Steel, being the only one of the many Power Rangers captured by Lord Draven, and later assists the Rangers in fighting the Ranger clone army using her yellow Megaforce Ranger powers. Okay, so let's talk about the good and the bad. First up, let's talk about our favorite Ranger. Well, for me, it's Orion. Best character of the season, easily.
Cameron Jibo has so much charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
Our worst Ranger, I have Troy.
I also said Troy. I would also put Robo Knight here, though, also, if he counts as a Ranger. But...
Best villain, I have Vakar.
Vakar. Duh.
Worst villain.
I mean, it could honestly be anyone.
Argus.
I put Domrus and the Silver Guy.
All right, let's talk about our best episodes, which I feel like that's going to be a tie.
United We Stand. One of my episodes I just gravitate to. I also said the grass is always greener or bluer. And Silver Lining.
I have Silver Lining on my list, but I think my third one would be Messenger, maybe. That one was cool. It's hard to pick episodes. They're just all like, meh.
This is just not for me. I don't vibe. The episodes feel like they drag because it is like 80% Sentai footage.
Rewatching the season was so torture. Like, that's why we don't really have that much passion, I feel, talking about this. Next retrospective, it's going to be a good season.
We already have one picked up, but we're not going to say.
Let's talk about our worst episodes, which almost could be the whole season.
Rico the Robot. I said the Human Condition just because of the rap.
Staying on Track is pretty bad, too. That's the episode where Rack's master plan was to make a train late. And I guess a Robo Night Before Christmas is kind of bad, too. It's like Robo Night goes to Africa, and it's like the most stereotypical shit ever. We are recording this on Christmas Eve, for those unaware, and we did not bother to watch that on our little Christmas episode rewatch. So Austin, where does this rank on your season ranking, you think?
Low. I don't know where. I don't think it is the worst. I think Ninja Steel is worst.
I feel like there's episodes of Ninja Steel that are better than anything coming out of Megaforce.
As generic as Megaforce is, Ninja Steel is a copy-paste of Dino Charge with ninjas, though, in a high school instead of a museum.
And lastly, how does it compare to other anniversary seasons?
Not great. I think it does more anniversary stuff than Overdrive.
The anniversary seasons are Wild Force, which is just the team-ups. Overdrive, again, which is just Once Ranger. This, Super Ninja Steel, and Cosmic Fury, and I guess Once in a Ways. Forever Red is way better than anything from this season. Dimensions in Danger is better than anything out of this.
I might like Once and Always more. Once a Ranger, I mean.
This was painful.
I never want to watch this again, respectfully.
It was painful to watch. It was painful to talk about. No more. I am done. 10 years of shitting on the season, complaining about it. I'm done.
I will admit, I was the one who picked this because I was hoping it would have the Samurai effect on me. Because I used to not like Samurai. We watched it during COVID. I love Samurai. This did not have the same effect. In fact, it probably had the opposite effect. I probably dislike it more. This was, I don't know, I feel like other retrospectives we've done, it's like, oh yay, like we get to watch these episodes. And this was like, oh god, no, we had to watch some episodes.
Alright, so is that our final bow for Megaforce?
Our final adieu.
Alright, so that is the end of our Megaforce retrospective. What did you think of Megaforce? Did you like it as much as we did? Tweet us at the Grid PR and share us your thoughts on Megaforce with us. Join us next time for a brand new episode of The Grid, but until then, everybody say bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Morphin Legacy production, bitches!
Well, Austin, are you satisfied?
I am actually, thanks for asking, because Glitchy really seemed to like Megaforce. Totally worth it.
I love Megaforce. Go Megaforce.
Why am I not surprised?
You know, Glitchy, you kind of remind me of Tensu, except you have arms.
I love Tensou.
Am I the only one here with taste?
Excuse me?
I'm just saying, Glitchy might need an upgrade.
How dare you? He's just a...
Boss? Austin? Where'd you go? Am I all alone? Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Don't worry, Glitch. I'm still here to assist you in any way I can.
Ooh, can you make me some chicken nuggies, Miss Computer Lady?
Preparing chicken nuggets for robotic assistant Glitch.
Yay! Nom, nom, nom.
Meanwhile...
Baby! What the? Where are we?
By the looks of things, a rock quarry on Earth. Wait a sec.
Legendary Rangers! Mighty Morphin! And Zeo! Look, I see Turbo! Incredible!
Lost Galaxy!
Wild Force? Dino Thunder?
Lightspeed Rescue? Mystic Force? Jungle Fury and Ninja Storm?
And Samurai. They're all here.
Austin, I think we've been teleported to the legendary battle.
Shut up. How the fuck did that happen?
Morphin Masters? I don't know.
Do you think Jen Scotts is here? I need her to sign my mint condition Time Force Pink Ranger figure.
You just carry that thing around with you?
I mean, yeah, you never know when you're gonna run into a legend.
Okay. Anyway, she's over there with the other Time Force Rangers. Wait, why are there B Squad Rangers here? They shouldn't be active for another 11 years at this point in the timeline.
Well, we're here, so...
Sure. Wait, why is everyone posing? Austin, I think we're supposed to do a team pose.
What?
Pose, Austin! Pose!
Hi-ya!
I think we're about to fight some X-Borgs.
If only we had those personal weapons Gridmaster Emerald was working on. Thanks, by the way.
Yeah, but we have something else.
Metallic Star Wands. Summon Metallic Star Saber. Metallic Rose Star Saber.
Metallic Silver Star Saber. Ready to kick some X-Borg ass, Austin?
Bet you know it. Charge!